Hello Scorpio, kia ora koutou katoa. Welcome to my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page if you've come across this video on Facebook. So as always, just remember that these videos, the messages that come through are general, so they may or may not resonate with you. If they do resonate, then that's wonderful. If they don't, then just leave it, just put it aside. Don't try and make it fit, especially right now, because it may not make sense to you. Because it may not make sense to you right now, but it may maybe at the end of the month, or in a couple of days, or in a couple of hours, even after you've watched the video. So the other thing is, this is for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and or Venus. So so welcome everybody, all Scorpions out there, with whatever sign Scorpio falls out for underneath. Scorpio falls in your chart for you. Gosh, that was coming out a little bit tongue-tied there. It was so clear and succinct earlier. So, or in the beginning of this video, that is. So yeah, anyway, just carry on. So if you don't know what your signs are, there is a link in the description box below that will take you to a website that has a free calculator in there, and it will work it out for you. So I'm going to take that one, and I feel like, oh no, it's not, there's two there. And it will work out for you. So I do encourage, like, watching, you know, what the other signs are, or, you know, or some of them are, whichever one resonates with you, to watch, to look at, because it can, you know, bring a little bit more information to the fore for you, where you can understand it a little bit more maybe, and but just it's just to help you out, with a better or greater overview of what could be going on for you in the future, or the near future, and how you can get around it. So I just want to take that one. So that's the only one. I won't take those, so I only wanted one. Anyway, so here we go. So something may be irritating you. I'm just noticing my arm. I haven't scratched it for quite a while. So I'm just noticing I'm scratching my arm. And so there may be something on, you know, maybe a male energy that's around you that's like getting under your skin, or on your I want to say under, or on your skin, but maybe irritating you at the moment. So, or near you, for some of you, not all of you. So just finding, I'm just hearing just to relax and relax with that. So we'll just see what they mean by that. So we're doing a mind, body, spirit flow here today. So the first card out with the sacred energy oracle deck here is the Alliance card. So there's something, you know, with the mind, so that maybe that you are aligning with somebody, or unaligning with somebody, or there may be an alliance there that is on your mind, that you may be wanting to work, that you're working through at the moment. On the physical level, I feel like there's consistency. So, oh, hang on a moment, I've got to, alliance is that one. So there's a lot of, it's something aligning is the word I'm getting with that as well. Consistency there on a physical level, so there may be some consistency that's required there, but also some discernment on a spiritual level here as well. So that's coming through. So maybe you are being a little bit discerning about where you're spending some of your energy, and where and who you are bringing into your space that is, you know, as an alliance in some way or form. There may be a business or a partnership in some sort of way, not just a business, but I'm hearing like for some of you maybe partnership as a relationship, but also as a friendship as well. So listen, on a soul level, there is something I feel that's telling you to listen to something, okay? So I'm just going to take this one here and this one here, because they are sticking out, and this one here. So I'm putting it that way because that's in reverse. I'm just checking through there. Okay, no, that way. This way here is going to come out. Cool. So yeah, so then the next card in the because what we're going to be doing is the current energies is this next row here. Then we're going to go into the middle row, is more about, you know, what might be coming up, how you can work your way through that, and the last one is like a general overview and an outcome of, where it could be in a bit of guidance there. So depending on how that flows up for you. So generally that's what that's about. We'll see what comes up for you with the cards, okay? Anyway, welcome, Scorpio. I keep wanting to say that, though. It's like there may be something where you may be feeling unwelcome for some of you to some capacity, where you're ready to move on. It's like, yep, okay, then. So anyway, there's 7 of Wands here has come up, and this card has come up with just about every reading today. And use the 4th one today. So interesting. So there's some boundaries. So there may be a need for you to, like, physically, as well as mentally and emotionally, create some boundaries around yourself, and form your boundaries, basically. I'm hearing protection as well. So and having your guard up a little bit. So there may be something about that, and it's probably because looking at this card, there may have been some stuff, emotional stuff in the past that you are leaving behind now. So if you're not leaving behind that emotional stuff and moving forward, then obviously it sounds like Spirit are encouraging you to move that. But some of you are maybe nearly ready there to do that. So it's but it's about finding some consistency as well within those emotions, and within, physically with you moving forward. So with these barriers, and I'm moving across here, starting in there again, are some boundaries that you've put up that has prevented you maybe from looking at those emotions there. So something's like irritating my nose now. So for some reason it may be a female energy that's irritating, or something that's getting up your nose that a female energy may have said to you. So it's really interesting when things like that. So anyway, I just want to scratch my nose again. So anyway, so there's something about you moving onwards and leaving whatever that emotional stuff in the past, which is amazing, which is good. So in your thoughts, in your mind, you may be still a little bit guarded, and that's okay, but at least you're moving forward, okay? Then we have the King of Pentacles, which is in reverse, and also the King of Wands. So the King of Pentacles is in the spiritual aspect of things, but also in the King of Wands is in the soul aspect. So I'm going to turn them around. So there may have been a little bit of discernment in that sense on a spiritual level, because with these movements, because of there may have been some financial stuff that's going on in there, instability that could be created, but there also could be it could have been something to do with other family or the rest of the family that's connected, but also with energy as well, the energy that it's taken, I feel like, which has put you in this position where, like, I need to make with this discernment, like, I need to be mindful and aware about my actions and how I take them, okay? And where I'm moving to, which direction am I moving in, whether that be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and or physically, but also soulfully. Where is that on that journey and that sort of thing? Where with your purpose? So there may have been, there a little bit of, some of you, it may be resistance in shifting and making this move, but some of you, it would have been about, holding you up and in the sense, but now from taking some action or some movement in a physical form, and making a decision as to when and how and why. And who with, blah, 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 that sort of thing. Who's going to help me, that sort of, and the support. But I feel like turning around, there's lots of support there. There's a sense of achievement there when you turn that around, when you walk through that path. Financially and physically, is also with family behind you, and that stability and that security. It's like nothing's going to change until you turn things around, or till you make that set, until you take some steps before it turns around. Same with the King of Wands as well, because he's a charismatic leader. He's a born leader, as with all the kings are, but he's the one that's got that high energy. The King of Pentacles works really hard, but also clever into building that, and career-wise, career-driven as well, but more centered around building a secure foundation financially, but also as well as stability on all levels for his family. Okay, so he's He's like a, that's what he's about. So in providing for his family. And the King of Wands has that energy and that action taker, that energy and motivation, but that spontaneity, but also with that enthusiasm into making things happen as well. So bringing it together. So, but he's very grounded on saying that. There's a lot of red that he wears in there. So the King of Pentacles is very grounded as well. There's a lot more gold and yellow there. So he sees the positiveness and positivity in everything. There's glimmers of that everywhere. With the King of Wands, there's a lot of gold with him as well. But he is like that. But there's that enthusiasm, that action taker, that movement, the motivator, that to get things going. So there may have been a little bit of lack of movement in that sense as well for some of you, in this current energy here. But it's like listening to what your soul is, is telling you to do, is, telling you, suggesting you, encouraging, but, it's listening to that. So that side of you, that deeper inner knowing, that's using that as your driving force. Then we have here the Eight of Swords here. This is about, freeing yourself from restrictions and that sort of thing. But you can actually, these could be self-imposed, but they could be, like imposed, influenced by others, but it's the influence of others, but you find yourself in this space, others' thoughts, feelings, beings that you've brought into, so something isn't sitting right, other people's belief systems and stuff like that, other people's drama, bullshit, all that sort of thing coming out, and it's like, oh God, and you're bought into it, which is kind of made you double think, triple think, maybe even quadruple, or even more. I can't think of the, five, expand it by 5, 6, 7 times. Okay, so there we have here the King of Swords. So there are a lot, look, you've got all of the kings, 3 of the kings coming out. So swords, consistency again, the King of Swords is like walking his walk and talking his talk. So he's more about communicating, talking his talk, basically, the king, and he may be a bit and being clear about what he's saying, clear, concise, consistent, about what he's communicating in all ways, not just verbally, but could be sign language. Just been checking out, could be through the signs or by the actions that he takes. Okay, so with this being in the physical, it's really like walking his walk and talking his talk, basically. And often, when we take action, it's about, our actions can speak volumes. They do speak volumes. So we're a lack of action, I mean, obviously that's saying that you're, depending on what's going on, that you aren't able to physically move it. In this case, yes. Maybe because he's got the king there, it's like, like getting through, moving past the stuff that's going on in your mind to physically take action, basically, to push your power for yourself, bring yourself out of this restrictive area here, okay? Overcoming the mind. So he's talking about overcoming the mind and like communicating what he needs to, because he's in his power, because he's communicating what he needs to communicate. And he's taking the actions, and he's moving through the life challenges that are there, basically. He knows what he's doing. He's taking steps. He's taken steps. So I just feel like he's here to encourage, taking steps, basically. But in not allowing the mind of the shadow stuff, or the mind that might get in the way. But this is about cutting through all that, and that stuff, and the overthinking, and that sense that stops you, and cut through all that to allow you to move, okay? Because there we have the Five of Swords. So there is something about, on a spiritual level here, that you may have a little bit of a discussion with yourself, or there may be some other thoughts and feelings that might come in. So like it's getting on top of that. So because remember, he's here. Remember the Eight of Swords is all about, restricting yourself. So not restricting yourself. I'm saying that it's like you're not, but that's self-restriction. And like this is about also set, like the other words I'm hearing is setting yourself free from that which restricts you, or that's what you think restricts you. Okay, so this is here. So you may have a little bit of a, you know, on a spiritual level that may come up for you to address that around there, around about now. Okay, so, but it's like, and it's also about, you know, there's the defeat, the victor and the defeated here in this card as well. So the victor, you know, it could be you, or the defeated, it may be you as well. So it depends on which way you look at it, and which way you want to move with that as well. You know, you see that, and it's like there is. So I want to, you know, I want to say, because the victor is in the front, that you take control of your feelings, of the thoughts, and the and how you're being communicated to, and how you communicate to others as well. Because here's the sun on the soul level here. He is like, you know, the sun here. There you go. There's you riding on your horse. There's, you know, lots of optimism there. There's the light at the end of the tunnel, or the sun at the end of the tunnel, or the sun comes up the next day. So this too shall pass is what I'm hearing. So looking forward, looking towards the sun, the next brand new day to help you like to shift through it. Because yesterday was yesterday, today is today. Tomorrow will be tomorrow, and the sun will rise again. There's no doubt about that. The sun will rise again. Yep, no, there's no doubt about that. The sun is going to rise again tomorrow. And, you know, and depending on how you look at it, if the sun doesn't rise again tomorrow, it's like get your head out of the sand. So for some of you may be in that space, but there's, for a lot of you, it's like the sun, you know, it's like looking for that, you know, keeping optimistic and looking for the brightness in everything. So then we have the Strength card, which is in reverse. So you may have a little bit of a mind battle going on there with the Strength card. So, but I'm going to turn that around. It's number 8 on the a major arcana part of the deck. So, and I want to say, you know, for 8 for me is about, is a now card, is a taking action, you know, number for me, a power number. And but also really realizing too that you are the infinite being, because it also shows me the infinity symbol, and which means to me about keeping in mind that, you know, that we are all infinite beings or infinite beings. So which means we have, you know, we can set the track to how we want it to set, depending on where we are, what we're wanting, to what we want to do, be given, have in our life, and how we see that. So, but we set it in motion, okay? And then because we have that power. So then we have the Page of Wands. So something is moving along here. So because there's a Page of Wands, and as that sun comes out, and you move through this funny little period here of processing what comes around here and what's up above there. The sun comes out, and you do find your strength, because like I say, we've turned that around. It is an our card. You set yourself free there. And the Page of Wands is, you know, is here, and to look at, you know, oh, okay, the Page of Wands is here, you know, with these new beginnings again, new ideas, or and how to handle something, combat something, create something, you know, moving towards whatever it is that, you know, in life. It may be something completely brand new, but something, a new beginning of, you know, because you're coming through the end of a phase, and there's this new information coming out. So it's like, okay, I can move on from that. But on a spiritual level, you know, I feel like you may be feeling like there are some new skills that need to be learned. So it could be from a spiritual aspect, I don't know. For some of you, it may be just you know, simply new skills to learn, that you may be feeling more drawn to learn something new, to expand on what you already know, or something completely new. It could be a new job that you're moving into, that you're learning new things, a new process in that job. It could be, you know, whatever it is, you know, learning new skills in some way. So there's something about that I wouldn't be surprised will be happening very soon, because that's a now card, an action number there for me. And which will bring you probably, you know, highly likely a little bit more money in. It's, you know, creating an income or more income, expanding on that, but also energetically wise, it may be good for you in the sense that, you know, to help with your energy, how much energy you spend, but also being able to bring the family unit together. So it may be working out with learning these new skills to upskill, update, a brand new skill or something like that, whatever, add to your kete of knowledge. or your basket of knowledge, whatever it is. It's like, doesn't necessarily have to be that you're going to uni or Wintec or some sort of other learning institution where it's like similar to university or something like that. But it could be something where you're going to do a couple of workshops or something like that. It could be some sort of maybe you're learning a new language. Maybe you're learning art. It could be something that is not necessarily something that is going to bring money into the purse. Like it could in the end eventually, but it's they're talking about this could be like a hobby thing, something that is a self-care sort of thing. Like for instance, I've started doing these going to these painting classes. It's actually and you learn how to paint, but you can have a little drinky on the side there or whatever. So there's a self-care, sort of a thing in that way. But I've always, liked to, to want to paint and things like that. But, and a friend and I are going, and we've met some other new people. And so it's kind of good in just seeing what other people's work comes out like, and what our work comes out like. So it's kind of interesting, but it's something for me in that sense. So, but it's also, a skill that I'm building on for me personally, and it's helping me to process things as well for me. So, and in climbing and like getting over some hurdles and things like that for myself as well. But just allowing, basically learning different things. So it could be in that aspect too, which in the end relaxes you to be able to, and be able to, by taking that self-care, to be able to put your energy into whatever project, business, work, career, or whatever it is, whether it's studying still or your own, work or business, just to take you away from doing something, to do something different. Cool. To shift the energy. Cool. Now, and then we have on the last card here out is the Nine of Wands. So something is coming to a completion, an end of a cycle, where you've been working towards, which is really cool. Where you're not feeling like, which is kind of where this is going to, is where you're not carrying the burdens of others, or you're not feeling overwhelmed, or you're not overdoing things. So it's not necessarily about carrying the burdens of others or other things, and it could be the past or the ancestral past, but it's like there's a sense of release and of not doing that anymore. But it's a lot of us actually in a sense is really our own choice as well. So it's about you letting go of something as well. So maybe you do release something and let go of something and realize that actually I've been that's not anybody else's fault but my own, that and it's my own burden that I've carried because I've said yes. You can say no. There's the, where that codependency sort of thing comes in, where we feel like you may feel, or, sometimes we feel like we may be, we're wanting to be more needed in some way or be more helpful in some way, but, and it's not necessarily that somebody is asking for your help, but they, or being, they're thankful for your help or whatever. But sometimes we can be an enabler as well by over giving, and we're remembering where we kind of need to retract a little bit to have some energy for ourselves and that sort of sense. So there's a few things going on there with that burdening, that with it going into the 10. But I do feel like you've created some boundaries. This is where that is what I'm talking about. It's like creating boundaries is about how much energy do I give out to all things around me, for yourself as well. This is, as well as for others. But obviously this is all about you, this reading, and about and how you're walking your walk. And that's where they're going with it. So it's like there's a sense of release and a sense of realizing that you're creating some boundaries, boundaries basically. Emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and soulfully as well, in all aspects. So Okay, where we go now? We're going with this one. Okay, so this is the Celtic Celtic Tarot. I was going to say the Universal Celtic Tarot. So we're just going to do, see what cards come out. 4 cards come out. Oh gosh, half the deck. They come out. I'm not going to take you because I don't want half the deck. I might take you. Let's see what goes on here. No, I'm not taking you. Okay, so the 7 of Wands. Interesting. That's come up with all the readings today. 7 of Wands. So there's sense of, this one here is the sense of boundaries again and protection and being, you know, being mindful about where, you know, what is out there, because you've come so far, and, you know, you've worked through some struggle and frustration on a physical level, but on all sorts of levels, not necessarily. So there's this 7 of Swords on here, Wands again on here, and so that's interesting that should come up. So that's a battle of minds, basically, a battle in your mind. So that is, you know, creating some boundaries that maybe you may be overthinking things and over creating it. So which comes back to here. It's one thing to create boundaries, but being mindful about what is the energy or the intention behind it. On saying that. So then we have the King of Cups here on the physical level here. You know, he's talking about here being in touch with his emotions and that sort of. So now you have got all the cups that have come out for the kings in all aspects. So this is really, you know, going into that energy of being more in control, but not in a control where it's pedantically over the top control. This is about being in a mindful awareness control and finding that balance and that sense about where, you know, and that sort of control in the sense of wanting to try to find another word, or asking Spirit for another word, but that's the word that keeps coming out, is control, because maybe that's a word that you see, but it's like that sense of being, you know, but there's a sense of being, you know, more at peace with everything and calmer in that sense. It's like knowing that actually I am the creator, and I have worked on it. So it's being in your own power, in your in that sense with all of these cards: the King, the Cup, the King of Cups, the King of Swords, the King of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. They come together to help ground you and stabilize, solidify. Oh, wow. Your position of where you are. But, you know, okay, stabilize, solidify, and motivate, enthuse, but also be, you know, being in that intuitive space, but but being compassionate, in that knowing of where they go, and emotionally stable. Okay, that's where they're kind of going with it. So everything is like, in that sense, like it's starting to come together. So it's coming into that energy of being the leader, basically leading the way. That's where they're wanting to go with that. So then we have the Hanged Man here. So it's like looking on a spiritual level, looking from things from at another point of view, from another perspective. In the 5 of Pentacles, okay, so there may be some sort of setbacks on a soul level, but and where you may be like thinking, oh my God, what's happening now? So you may finally go in that funny little space, but I feel like there's a cycle that's coming around and being broken on saying that, where there is a sense of, yes, there is maybe a setback, but you know what, it's just a setback. And you know, it's this too will pass, and I've been here before, and it's like something, but not exactly the same as what I'm hearing, but it's just a setback, and this too shall pass. Then we have the Hierophant, okay, so which is on a coming through, and I don't want to actually put it there. I want to put it on a physical level, and it's embracing those two, the mind and the physical, on a spiritual journey. So this is there's something, a spiritual journey, a spiritual awakening as well. And then the Sun here, okay, is come out again. Okay, so the Sun is on your side. The Sun is the joy, is the inspiration as well, but is the optimism that's there. So keeping that in mind. So getting in touch with yourself spiritually, or looking at that side of yourself. and maybe this here is looking from things from a different perspective as well, will help to bring things to fruition a lot more than you believe or you think. So it's like, yeah, creating boundaries is, I think, is one of the bigger things, so you can move on to some new beginnings for you. Okay, awesome. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there now for you, Scorpio. So with lots of peace, harmony, joy, excitement, adventure, and prosperity and abundance. Okay. Anyway, bye for now. So we'll be popping back in, during the month, because I just feel like there are some like short reads, quick messages that are coming through to help zhuzh up your energy on your way through this journey and through this month of March 2020. Okay, bye for now.